Namaskaram. Sarvebhyaha suswagatam. Welcome you to the second class of Hayagrivam Upasmahe, where we learn the meaning of the Hayagriva Stotram of Swami Vedanta Deshika. Start with the Acharya Vandana. Lakshminatha Samarambham Nathayamuna Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. That was the Acharya Vandana for the entire Guru Parampara, starting from Lakshminatha Sriman Narayana to our Acharyas. Next is the Vandana for my Guru, Sriman Gopala Deshika Swami. Shri Vatsavira Raghvisha Kripalabdhatma Jivanam Atreya Gotrajam Vande Gurum Gopala Deshikam. Next is the Vandana for Vedanta Deshika Swami. Shriman Venkatanatharya Kavitarkika Kesari Vedanta Acharya Varyo Me Sannidhattam Sada Hridi. So yesterday we had looked at the meaning of the first Deshika Vandana, the Vedanta Deshika Taniyan as we call it, Shriman Venkatanatharya Kavitarkika Kesari Vedanta Acharya Varyo Me Sannidhattam Sada Hridi. Let Swami Vedanta Deshika be present in our hearts so that we are able to, and bless us so that we are able to understand his work. So that is our prayer. So with this prayer, we will now look at the first shloka that we have in the Hayagriva Stotram. We had looked at the Padavibhaga and where the overall meaning of the shloka. We have to now look at some deeper meanings and then move on to the next shloka. So that is where we are today. Jnananandamayam devam nirmalaspatikakritim adharam sarvavidyanam Hayagrivam Upasmahe. So the words that we have here, we'll look at the word by word meaning so that we understand where we are. So Jnana Anandamayam Devam Nirmalaspatika Akritim Sarva Vidyanam Adharam Hayagrivam Upasmahe. So as we said, we start with the verb Upasmahe. So the action that we are going to do is we pray. We are going to do Upasana, Bhakti. To whom are we going to do Upasana? To Bhagavān Hayagriva. And how do we understand Swami Hayagriva, Bhagavān Hayagriva? He is Sarva Vidyanam Adharam. He is Nirmalas Patika Akritim. He is Devam. He is Jnana Anandamayam. So he is Jnana Anandamayam, Devam, Nirmalas Patika Akritim, Sarva Vidyanam Adharam. So these are the adjectives that describe Hayagriva Bhagavan. So it is in understanding these words that we need to pay a little more attention. So the overall meaning that we have already looked at yesterday was that Jnana Anandamayam essentially means that he is one who is the embodiment of knowledge and bliss, who is filled with knowledge and bliss. You can look at it both these ways. Devam, one who is effulgent. That was one meaning that we saw. We'll look at another meaning also. Nirmalas Patika Akritim, whose akriti, whose form is like that of a pristine crystal. It's a pure crystal. Nirmala is absolutely no blemishes, pure. And Spatika is white crystal. Akriti is that particular form. Sarva Vidyanam Adharam. And he is considered to be the abode, basis, substratum of all knowledge. So it is from him that all knowledge is derived. So to that Hayagriva Bhagavan, we pray. Okay. So now, let's understand some of the finer points that we have when we are looking at these words. So we said Jnana Anandamayam Devam. So let's look at the word Jnana Anandamayam. So Jnana is knowledge, Ananda is bliss. So we said he is Jnana Anandamaya. So there are two ways in which you can understand this. One is to say that you can look at the Maya. The Maya is a particular suffix that we are using there, and use this Maya as a suffix. It's called as a Mayat Pratyaya, as we call it in Sanskrit. So this, when we use this Mayat Pratyaya, it can be used in with different meanings. Okay, so typically most of the suffixes and prefixes that we have, we find that they have multiple meanings, okay? And they can convey multiple aspects. So here when you look at this, Maya typically means something which is full. Okay, so you say prachuryarthe Maya. That particular aspect is fully there. It's present in abundance in that particular person or whatever who we are trying to describe. So that is one way. And we say swarthe Maya, which basically means that you're looking at it as something which is indicating that. For instance, to give a very simple example, suppose we say beautiful and full of beauty. Okay, so you say beautiful, it basically means that full is like a Maya, right? So full basically means that beautiful is the person is very beautiful. So you can use the beautiful to refer to that particular person, or I can say is really full of beauty. So that difference that you have, right? So that is what we are trying to look at over here. So Jnana-andamayam can be looked at as just indicating that he is the personification of these two. And he is also full of these two, of Jnana and Ananda. That is very important. Okay. And when we look at this Jnana Ananda, remember these two words, Jnana and Ananda. And then we have the word Deva. Okay, so Deva. So when you say Deva, so we said Deva typically means one that is shining, right? So who is effulgent, no? He's his nature is a lustrous nature. Like he's shining, effulgent. That is one meaning. Another meaning of Devam is that Diva Kridaya. That is, the root Diva can be also used to indicate play. Okay. So what kind of a play are we looking at here? Here we say that for Bhagavan, for Lakshmi Narayana, for Sriman Narayana, this entire Jagat Vyapara, that is to say, this entire creation, sustenance, and dissolution of this entire universe. Right? So the entire thing is considered as a Leela. And it is also a very unique quality of Paramatma. So in fact, in the Brahma Sutras, when we talk about various aspects of Paramatma and the differences between Paramatma and Jivatma and so on. So Jivatma, even when he becomes a Muktatma, that is when he attains Samipya, Salokya, Saijya, and other things, he becomes he is so close to Paramatma, he becomes a Mukta. Even then, there is one thing that he cannot do, which is Jagad Vyapara. So we say Jagad Vyapara Varjam. Other than Jagad Vyapara, everything he can do like Paramatma does. So this Jagad Vyapara, that is playing with this world or being mercifully playing with this world. You can't just say he's just a play as as a frivolous play. It is a merciful play that he does. So this particular Leela that we have of Bhagavan, that is a very unique quality of Paramatma. So what we are essentially trying to say is, these words actually are trying to tell us that the Hayagrivam, whom we are going to do Upasana for, is none other than Paramatma. So this verse and the words which are used in this verse, they establish Hayagriva Bhagavan as Paramatma. So now, after looking at this Deva, let's come back to Jnana Ananda. Okay. So Jnana Ananda, if you can recollect, you might have heard this, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, where you use the word Jnana. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. And we also use Anandam Brahma. So we have Ananda is also another characteristic which is used to describe Brahma. When I say Brahma here, they are referring to Paramatma. So Jnana, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma indicates Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam are all characteristics which define Paramatma. Similarly, Ananda Brahma. So Ananda is also another characteristic which is used to define Paramatma. So if you look at it from that point of view, Jnana, you can look at it as indicating the group of Satyam, Jnanam, Ananta, and Ananda, explicitly specifying Ananda. And so these two, Satyam, Jnanam, Ananta, Ananda, as characteristics which define Paramatma, are also indicated over here. And Deva tells us that this Jagat Vyapara, this play of the universe that he does, is something which is again unique to Paramatma. Right? So it indicates that Paramatma is being meant over here. Similarly, if we come to Nirmala Sphatikakrit, so let's look at the first word, Nirmala. So Nirmala essentially means blemishless, absolutely no fault, okay, faultless, blemishless, it's pure, right? So this quality, again, Amalatva as it is called, this Amalatva is also considered to be another unique characteristic of Paramatma. So in fact, when we try to understand Paramatma, right? So the way we look at it is, we'll understand based on certain characteristics that we have, that he has. So out of these characteristics, some are considered to be defining characteristics. So what are referred to as Swarupa Nirupaka Dharma. So this dharma is basically a characteristic. So Swarupa Nirupaka Dharma. So that we say is, to understand that Swarupa, to understand what he is, right? For that, to Nirupaka, to define that, there are certain characteristics which are specified. And once it is defined, there may be other characteristics, which are, once the Swarupa is Nirupita, so Nirupita Swarupa, then there can be additional dharma, additional characteristics that you could have. So we say that our Paramatma, Sriman Narayana, is full of auspicious qualities. Right? He has so many Mangala Guna that he has, right? So Divya Mangala Swarupa, but he's also Swarupam is Mangala, and he's also Guna is also Mangala. So he has many auspicious qualities. So out of which we say that Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Ananda, and Amala, Amalatva. So Satyatva, Jnanatva, Anantatva, Anandatva, and Amalatva are 5 characteristics which are considered to be his defining characteristics. So what we actually see here is that in this first few words, the choice of words that Swami Deshika has used, he has given the defining characteristics of Paramatma, and that he's saying is Hayagriva. So Hayagriva is none other than Paramatma. So this is the beauty of the whole thing. So and the Deva Shabda which is used in between also establishes this same fact, because this Jagat Vyapara is something that nobody else can. Right? So that is also established. Then we come to Sphatika Akriti. His Akriti, his form is like that of pure crystal. So this also gives us a certain, it specifies that he's pure. That is one thing. And if you're looking at something which is so pure that you want to look at, something that you can compare, you know that Bhagavan is so pure. So what do I find in my world here which I can compare with him? And probably Sphatika is something that Swami Deshika finds is the closest that can be used to describe it. So we say is Sphatika Akriti. So Nirmala Sphatika Akriti. And that is one thing. Sphatika Akriti is one thing we looked at. Next is Adharam Sarva Vidyana. So, okay, before we go into Adharam Sarva Vidyana, it's another point that we should mention here. So I said that there are defining characteristics, and then there can be characteristics which can be defined after that. So for example, here, when we talk of Bhagavan, we say he has Vatsalyam, okay, as a characteristic. Saushilya, Vatsalya is, he has that, the feeling that a mother has towards a child, right? So that's a Vatsalya. So he has that kind of affection. Similarly, he has Saushilya. He is so easy to approach. So these are characteristics which are additional characteristics that are there, that we normally speak about Paramatma. But those can be looked at as the Nirupita Swarupa Gunas or the Dharma. So that is how we understand this. Now when you say Nirmala, so Nirmala essentially means pure, right? So when you say Nirmala or Amalatva as a guna, it also means that he does not have any bad qualities and he is full of good qualities. So we say Nikhila Heya Pratyanika and Samasta Kalyana Guna. So Nikhila Heya Pratyanika. So Heya is qualities which we have to leave out. So bad qualities. So Nikhila Heya Pratyanika. Pratyanika is opposite to that. So for entire things which you would look at as negative qualities, he is the Pratyanika. He is the opposite of that. So he does not have any of the negative qualities. And Samasta Kalyana Gunatmaka, so which means he is full of auspicious qualities. So that is how we understand Paramatma. In fact, this again, in the when we look at Brahma Sutra, we are looking at where the understanding of Parabrahma is explained in detail. So this is referred to as something called Ubhaya Linga. There are two linga, you can look at it as an identification. So Ubhaya Linga, he has two identifications. One is that he does not have negative qualities, and the other is that he is full of auspicious qualities. So this also is considered to be another very unique characteristic of Paramatma. So all these words there, Jnana, Ananda, Deva, Nirmala, all of them are pointing to Paramatma. And the Sphatika Akriti, you can look at it as pointing to the very beautiful Akriti, very, very lovable, and he's so beautiful that you will like him so much, right? So that he is bhogya akriti. No, that is when you say bhogya basically means you would like to experience it. So that's the kind of experience that you would like to have, right? So if you're sitting in front of Bhagavan and you want to keep on seeing him, right? You don't want to take your eyes off him. So that's the kind of bhogyatva that he has. So that is also a very unique characteristic of Parama. Then we come to Sarva Vidyana Madhara. So now, having described in general, so now we're coming to Sarva Vidyana Madhara. He is the Adhara, the substrate or the basis of all Vidyas. So here, when we say Sarva Vidya, we are talking about, we talk about normally two things, right? Paravidya and Aparavidya. So as we discussed very briefly yesterday. So Paravidya refers to Brahma Vidya and Aparavidya refers to other branches of knowledge. So if you look at how this is basically spelled out in the Upanishads, in Mundaka Upanishad, there is a reference to this Paravidya and Aparavidya. So there it says, Dve Vidye Veditavye Itihasma Yad Brahma Vido Vadanti Parachaiva Aparacha. So Brahmavid, that people who know Brahma, they say that there are two Vidyas, two types of knowledge that have to be obtained. One is Para and Apara. So there it says, Tatha Apara, Rigveda, Yajurveda, all the Vedas, Puranas and other things are mentioned over there. And Para Yaya Tad Aksharam Adhigamyate. And Para is the one through which that Akshara Brahma is actually obtained. So this is what we said when we were discussing this yesterday, that Vedas and Angas, they lead you to understanding Brahma. But when you talk of Brahma Vidya as such, we are talking about the actual upasana that needs to be done, through which you will attain the knowledge of Brahma. You get the Brahma Sakshatkara, as we call it. Right? You have the actual Sakshatkara of Brahma. So the Vidya that leads to that is the Paravidya. All the other Vidyas are considered as Apara. Not Para. Basically, it means Aparavidya. So, and when we talk of Hayagriva Bhagavān, because we know that then we have the word Hayagrivam itself, right? So when the word Hayagrivam is mentioned over here, so we are definitely referring to the Hayagriva Murti of Paramatma. So the Hayagriva Murti of Paramatma, as we again looked at briefly yesterday, we said it was a avatara taken by Sriman Narayana to give the Vedas, to do Veda Upadesha, to retrieve the Vedas and give it back to Brahma, do the Upadesha. So he is doing a Vidya Upadesha or a Jnana Upadesha. Since he is doing Jnana Upadesha, he is giving knowledge. So he is considered to be the Lord associated with knowledge. So Sarva Vidyanam Adharam Hayagrivam Upasmahe also has to be connected in that sense. Okay. So if you look at it from this aspect, now we can see, and when we say Hayagriva is the god of knowledge, we also saw yesterday, right, that Saraswati Devi, when she blessed Swami Ramanuja, she gifted him with the Hayagriva Murti. Okay, and as we will see in the later shlokas here, Swami Deshikan says that Saraswati, Devi Saraswati, Bhagavan Dakshinamurti, Brihaspati, all of them also derive their knowledge from Hayagriva. So Hayagriva is the giver of knowledge for all. So that's the meaning that we are. So the essence or the inner meaning that I pointed out, that I would like to point out, is that these words essentially establish Bhagavan Hayagriva as Paramatma by pointing to the characteristics which are very, very unique to Paramatma. Okay. So that's the understanding that we have from this first shloka. So Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmala Sphatika Akritim Adharam Sarvavidyanam Hayagrivam Upasmahe. Okay. With this understanding, let us move to the next shloka. Now you will see that this Sphatika Akriti, these are certain terms that will repeat again and again. So the importance of some of these terms will you will get the importance as we keep moving from one shloka to another shloka. So now let's go to the second shloka. Swatasiddham Shuddhaspatikamaణibhubhrit pratibhatam Sudhasadrichibhiryutibhiravadata tribhuvanam Anantaistrayantairanuvihitaheshahalahalam Hatasheshavadyam Hayavadanamidhimahimaha. There is also a Pathantra, that is another version of one of the words that is used over here. So I will repeat the shloka with that particular Pathantra, and then we will look at the Padavibha. Swatasiddham Shuddhaspatikamaణibhubhrit pratibhatam Sudhasadrichibhiryutibhir apatapatribhuvanam Anantaistrayantairanuvihitaheshahalahalam Hatasheshavadyam Hayavadanamidhimahimaha. So you can see that it's a slightly bigger shloka than what we saw in the first one. So the words that we have here are Swataha Siddham, Padavibhaga, Swataha Siddham, Shuddha Spatika Mani Bhubhrit Pratibhatam, Sudha Sadrichi Bihi, Dyuti Bihi, Avadata Tribhuvanam, or in the other version we have Apatapa Tribhuvanam. Anantaihi Trayantaihi Anuvihita Hesha Halahalam Hatasheshavadyam Hayavadanam Idhimahi Mahaha. So we can see here that Swatasiddham has been split into Swataha Siddham. Shuddhas Spatikamani Bhubhrit Pratibhatam is a single word, but it has many parts to it, which has been shown over here. Sudha Sadrichi Bihi Dyuti Bihi Avadata Tribhuvan. So there are two sandhi forms here that we have split. Sudha Sadrichi Bihi Dyuti Bihi Avadata Tribhuvanam. So the Visarga here had taken the form of Rakara, that has been changed to Visarga. Avadata Tribhuvanam, we saw that. Then Anantaihi Trayantaihi Anuvihita Hesha Halahalam. So Anantaihi, if we had Anantais Trayantair Anuvihita, that becomes Anantaihi Trayantaihi Anuvihita Hesha Halahalam. So again, this Visarga is where the sandhi is happening. And Hata Sheshavadyam, single word. Hayavadanam Idhimahi Mahaha. So the im and a, that is split. Hayavadanam im and e, sorry. Hayavadanam Idhimahi Mahaha. That's what we have. So this is the Padavibhaga. So now let's look at the Anvaya, that is the prose order. So if you look at the prose order, there are a few terms that will change where the order is changed in this particular shloka. So again, if we identify the verb, we know that we can put that as the last word. So if we do that, Idhimahi is the verb here. So Idhimahi we can see is the last word in the sentence. So other than that, the Anvaya goes like this. Swatas Siddham Shuddhas Phatikamani Bhubhrit Pratibhatam Sudasad Richibihi Dyutibihi Avadata Tribhuvanam Anantaihi Trayantaihi Anuvihita Hesha Halahalam Hatasheshavadyam Hayavadanam Mahaha Idhimahi. So you can look at these as different pieces which are defining Hayavadanam Mahaha. So Hayavadanam Mahaha Idhimahi. Idhimahi, again Stuti, we do Stuti to Hayavadanam Mahaha, the lustre, which is Hayavadana, the Jyotish of Hayavadana, or Hayagriva in his lustrous form. And how is that particular form of Hayavadana? All these other words go to describe that. So Swatas Siddham Hayavadanam Mahaha, Shuddha Spatika Mani Bhubhrit Pratibhatam Hayavadanam Mahaha, Sudasadrichi Bihi Dyuti Bihi Avadata Tribhuvanam, that kind of a Hayavadanam Mahaha. Anantaihi Trayantaihi Anuvihita Hesha Halahalam Hayavadanam Maha Hata Sheshavadyam Hayavadanam. Okay. So that kind of Hayavadanam is that kind of a Hayagriva, his Mahaha, right? That lustre of him, Idhimahi, we pray to that. Let's look at the meaning in word by word, understand it better. Swataha Siddham. Swataha Siddham means one who is self-evident. Okay, Swataha is self by, which means when you say self-evident, it means it does not require an external entity to express itself or to be present, right? Swatasiddh, one which is self-evident. We look at details of a detailed meaning of the Swatasiddham when we look at the Bhavartha. Okay, so this is a indicative meaning. Shuddha Spatika Mani Bhubrit Pratibhatam. So the words we have here are Shuddha Spatika Mani Bhubrit Pratibhatam. So Shuddha is pure, as we saw in the previous shloka. Right? So Shuddha is pure. Spatika Mani is crystal gem. Spatika, crystal. Mani is gem. So Shuddha Spatika Mani Bhubrit. Bhubrit refers to mountain. Okay? So like a parvata, okay, mountain. So Bhubrit basically means Bhu is Bhumi, Brit is one which bears. So the mountains are supposed to be the ones which are holding the earth, right? So which are helping to hold the earth together. So Bhubrit refers to mountain. So you're looking at Shuddha Spatikamani Bhubrit. So a mountain which is made of pure crystals, of pure crystal gems. So if you look at a mountain like that, to that mountain, it's a Pratibhatam. So Pratibhatam means one which is matching or one which is similar or one which is vying with it. Okay, Pratibhatam is that which is vying with it. Or you can say it is much more effulgent than a Shuddha Spatikamani mountain. If you look at it as a mountain made of Shuddha Spatikamani, this form is rivaling that. It is matching that or it is excelling that. Okay, so that is what we mean by this term, Pratibhatam. So Pratibhata indicates that. So we always have to understand that when we are describing Bhagavan, we have to describe Bhagavan only with things that we know. So it does not mean that he is reduced to this form. It is to say that this is the nearest that we can get to. So he's definitely much more than that, right? So when you say Pratibhata and say matching, so it's not that he's restricted to that. He's much more than that. So he is excelling this particular form is what we need to understand. So Shuddha Spatikamani Bhubrit Pratibhatam. One which is like a mountain of pure crystal gems. Sudha Sadrichi Vihi. So again, Sudha. Sudha refers to Amritam. Sudha is a word used to indicate Amritam, nectar. So by nectar like Dyutivihi, rays. Okay. So Sadrichi means Sadrisha or similar. So that indicates similarity. So Sudha, like nectar, Dyutivihi. Dyuti is rays. The Kiran, okay, Dyutivihi. You can look at it as a light rays. So Sudha Sadrichi Bihi Dyutivihi. So by nectar like rays, now what are these rays doing? Avadata Tribhuvanam. Tribhuvanam. Tribhuvanam refers to the three worlds. Bhuvana is world, Tribhuvana, the three worlds. Avadata. Avadata basically means making white. Okay, painting something white. Okay. So which indicates that you're giving it a clear splendor. So Avadata is making white. So one which renders the entire three worlds white with its nectar-like rays. So if you understand it in the English prose order, we should start from here. One which renders the three worlds white by its nectar-like rays. So when we say it in Sanskrit, we say Sudha Sadrichi Vihi Dyuti Vihi Avadata Tribhuvanam. But when we understand English, we can say one which renders the three worlds white by its nectar-like rays. Avadata Tribhuvan. Another version we said was Pathantara is Apatapa Tribhuvanam. So Apatapa Tribhuvanam basically means that it will remove the afflictions of the three worlds. So for all the beings which are there in the three worlds, it removes all the pain, all the difficulties that they have. So Apatapa. So Tapa is pain or any difficulty. So Apatapa is something which removes the pain. So that which is responsible for removing all our afflictions for the entire three worlds, right? So in all the entire three worlds, one meaning is that you can look at it as that one which is showering its white rays, on all the three worlds and thereby sustaining it. That is one thing. Another way to look at it is it removes the afflictions of all the three worlds. Both these pathas are possible. Avadata Tribhuvanam is all. Now, next description that we have is Anantaihi Trayantaihi Anuvihita Hesha Halahala. So Anantaihi. Anta is end, Ananta is endless. Anantaihi, by the endless, Trayantaihi. So Trayanta refers to Upanishads. Now, Trayi is a word which is used to represent the Vedas. So typically, Rig, Yajur, Sama are referred to as the three Vedas. So when you say Trayi, we are referring to Vedas. So Trayi Anta. So Vedanta. So end of the Vedas, we have the Upanishads. So Trayanta refers to Upanishads. By the endless Upanishads, which also includes the Vedas and the Upanishads. Anuvihita Hesha Halahalam. Now this Hesha is a word which indicates the neighing sound of the horse. The horse has a particular sound, right, which called as the neighing sound. So that sound, Swami Deshikan actually uses that sound itself. He says hala hala. So hala hala is the kind of sound, hala hala sound that is produced by the horse, right? So the Hayagriva Swami, that Hesha, right? He's producing that hala hala sound. So that hala hala sound, right, is echoed, anuvihita, is followed by the endless Vedas. So the Upanishads basically derive their sound from this hala hala shabdam which is made by Hayagriva Bhagavan. So to say, Hayagriva Bhagavan's hala hala shabdam is nothing but the Vedas. So any sound that comes from him are basically the Vedas and the Upanishads. So anantaihi trayantaihi anuvihita hesha halahala. So his halahala sound is the one which is followed by the Upanishads. The endless Upanishads follow that particular sound. So that's the cause for the Upanishads. This is one. Next is Hata Ashesha Avadyam Hayavadan. Hata Ashesha Avadyam was the word we looked at. So that is it's a compound word there. So that compound word basically indicates that you have three words there. Hata Ashesha Avadyam. So Avadyam is basically dosha, any disgrace or any blemish. Ashesha Avadyam, all blemishes without leaving even one. Okay. Hata, he destroys everything. One who removes all the blemishes of people who pray to him, of people who are doing service to him, right? Of all the people who are anukula to Bhagavan. So, Hata Ashesha Avadyam. So, one who removes all our blemishes. To that Hayavadanam Mahaha, to that lustre of Hayagriva, to that Mahaha, right? The tejas of Hayagriva, Idi Mahi, we pray. We pray to that lustre of Hayagriva. So you can look at it from here. So we pray to that lustre of Hayagriva, which destroys all our blemishes. Hata Ashesha Vadyam Hayavadanam Maha. Similarly, we pray to that lustre of Hayagriva, whose hala hala like nine sound is reflected or echoed by the endless Upanishads. So similarly, the previous adjectives also, that Hayagriva, we pray to that Hayagriva who is self-evident. We pray to that Hayagriva who is like a mountain of pure crystal gems. We pray to that Hayagriva who with his nectar-like rays is rendering the entire three worlds white or purifying the entire three worlds, right? Or removing the afflictions of the entire three worlds. To that Hayagriva, we pray. This is the meaning of this shloka. Now let's look at the bhavartha and some of the inner meanings that we have. So we say that we eulogize or pray to that lustrous form called Hayagriva. So Hayagriva is the horse-faced Bhagavan. And this lustrous form is self-evident. This is what we already saw it. It's like a mountain of pure white crystal whose nectar-like rays whiten or remove the pain in the entire three worlds, whose neighing sound is echoed by the Vedas and which removes all blemishes. This is the overall meaning. So now we can pay a little more attention to some of these words which are used over here. Swata Siddha. So let's start with that particular one. Swataha Siddha essentially means Swataha, by himself, he is Siddha. So which means he does not need some other external entity to establish himself, right? So he is full of tejas. So Swata Siddham essentially means he is a tejomaya. He is full of tejas. So that Maha, tejas, right? So that Maha, the tejas is Swata Siddha. That Maha, the tejas, obviously when you look at a tejas, right? The tejas does not require an external entity to make itself evident, right? To 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 make it shine, right? It shines by itself. It shines forth all by itself. So that no external entity is required for its manifestation. So that is Swatasiddha. So when we say this Swatasiddham, this essentially indicates that he is different from all the entire other creatures which are there in this world. So typically we say that in this world we have Chit, Achit, Chit Padartha, Achit Padartha. So Achit Padartha are basically Jada Padartha, which do not have they are non-sentient things. They don't have the jnana. Okay. Chit Padartha has jnana, that which has jnana. So when we say Chit Padartha or Chit beings, so we normally look at them as, so we are all considered as Chit beings, and we say Chit can be in the samsara, Baddha, we are in the Baddha state where we are stuck in the samsara, okay, in this world. Or you could be a mukta, which means you have attained moksha, attained liberation. Or it could be a nitya. The nitya are jivas, jivatmas, which are there always along with Paramatma, okay, in Vaikuntha Loka as such. But still, their sustenance is dependent on the Lord. Okay. So by saying Swatasiddham, what we are saying is that Bhagavan is different from all these other categories of Jivatma that you can look at. Basically, he's different from Jivatma. So we're specifically saying that he's different from every type of Jivatma that you can have, every type of Chid Padartha that you can have. So Jivatma, if you look at, I said, can be Baddha, Mukta, Nitya. So he's different from Baddha because he's Jnana Swarupa anyway. And the Jnana Swarupa it does not decrease at any point of time. So though Jivatmas are also supposed to have Jnana as their Swarupa, but Jnana is Sankuchita. It's kind of, it becomes, it kind of decreases, right? Because of the Ajnana, because of the karma that we have and so on. But in Mukta, it is fully established, but still you are different from it. You are still not Swatasiddha. But Swatasiddha is something which is there only for Paramatma. So that Swatasiddham again has that specific name. Okay. And Swatasiddham also indicates that he is never born. He is Ajayamana. So Ajayamana means one who is not born. So we also have this state in the Veda, in the Upanishads, we say Ajayamano Bahudha Vijayate. So we have this Vakya. So Ajayamano Bahudha Vijayate basically means one who does not have birth at all. He's never born. Bahudha Vijayate, he takes many forms. So what do we mean by that? He takes many incarnations. He comes as Hayagriva. So this form that he takes is out of his own volition, out of his own will. So we say Ichhabhimata Urudeha. So he takes a form out of his own icha, out of his own will. So nothing else causes him. So of course, out of his own mercy, right? We say, right, that Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Dushkrutam, that he takes avatara, right? Sambhavami Yuge Yuge, that he says. So when there is a need, he takes a form, right? So he is Ajayamana, he does not have birth, and he is Swatasiddham, he is ever present. He is Nitya, he is always there. So that's Swatasiddham. That is what is indicated by the word Swatasiddham. So he is a Anadi Purusha. So that is also indicated. There's no Adi, there's no beginning. Only if there is a beginning, when you're born, that means there is a beginning. If you're not born, there is no beginning, which means he is Anadi. He is an Anadi Purusha. And this Shuddha Spatikamani Bhubrit Pratibhatam, this word that he is pure, white, and effulgent, and so on, it indicates that his form is that of Shuddha Sattva. Right? Shuddha Sattva, essentially, we say, we talk about three gunas, say Sattva, Rajas, and Tamoguna. So Bhagavan is supposed to have a form which is Shuddha Sattva, which is very different from the others. So it has only Sattva, it is Shuddha Sattva. So that Spatikamani Bhubrit Pratibhatam, that whiteness, that glory that you have, that shine that you have, all that indicates that this is a very different form. So that is what we mean by Shuddha Sattva form. Similarly, Sudha Sadrichi Bihi, Dyuti Bihi, Apatapa or Avadata Tribhuvanam. So with his glowing rays, right, with the rays that he has. So with the rays that he has, what does he do? He spreads his grace on all the three worlds. So he's showering his white nectar. So by showering the white nectar, what is he doing? He is sustaining all the creatures in this world. So he is responsible for creation, is something we saw. So he is responsible for the sustenance of all the beings in this world. And when you do sustenance, there are two things, right? One is that you have to remove the difficulties that a person has and also bless them with good things. So both these things are done by Hayagriva Perumal. Okay. So we say that he will remove Anishta Nivritti and Ishta Prapti. So removes all whatever is Anishta, whatever is not desired, that he will remove. And he also gives us Ishta Prapti, he gives us what we need. Okay, so both these things are indicated over. Anantaihi Trayantaihi Anuvihita Hesha Halahala. So that phrase again is very important. Anantaihi Trayantaihi. So Trayanta, the Vedas and the Upanishads, they are Ananta, they are endless. Ananta vai Vedaha. So we say that Vedas are endless, infinite. They are endless. So that endless Vedas are nothing but an echo or a reflection of Bhagavan's Halahala Shabda, of Hayagriva's Halahala Shabda. So every word, okay. So in fact, we say Bhagavan's even his breathing, okay. The breath of Bhagavan is considered to be the Vedas. Okay? So the breath of Bhagavan. So here he's saying not only the breath, whatever sound comes out of him, those are the Vedas. So that is another indication that he is the one who's responsible for, and Vedas are the ones that are giving us the complete code for how we need to lead our lives, right? So the entire thing is given by Bhagavan, is what we are trying to say over. So next we have Hata Shesha Avadyam. Hata Ashesha Avadyam. Okay. Hata Ashesha Avadyam. Avadyam we said is blemishes, and we said Hata Ashesha Avadyam is he removes all the blemishes, or one who does not have any blemishes. So you can look at it to mean two things. One is to say that he removes our faults. He out of his mercy, he is willing to overlook our faults and take care of us, right? So that is Hata Shesha Avadyam at one meaning of that. Another thing we can say is that he himself does not have any blemishes, right? So we say that he is full of auspicious qualities, okay? And as we said, right? So we say it is Apagata Papma, Vijaro, Vimrutyuhu, Vishokaha, Vichigitsaha, Apipasaha, Satyakamaha, Satyasankalpaha. So this is a Vakya, Upanishad Vakya that we have. It says that he has no bad qualities and is full of auspicious qualities. So that again is reflected by this Hata Shesha Avadyam. So no bad qualities at all. And he will remove all our bad qualities as well. And he is full of all good qualities. That is also so all Mangala qualities. Mangala gunas are there. That is there. So this kind of a Hayavadanam Mahaha Idima. So Mahaha, as we said, is this Jyoti. Mahaha also can be looked at as Param Brahma. So Mahaha is another term that is used for Parabrahma. So this Parabrahma called Hayagriva, to this Parabrahma that we will, Idimahi, we will pray. And why are we doing this? For removing all our Ajnana. For the removal of all our Ajnana, we pray to this Hayagriva Bhagavan, is what we are saying. So we can see that in every shloka, as we go through, Swami Vedanta Deshika, he exposes or he unfolds one after the other different aspects of Hayagriva for us. So the Anubhava is kind of, he keeps on building on the Anubhava that we can have. So that is what we see over here. Okay. So this second shloka here describes Bhagavan in this manner. And as we go to the third shloka, we will take a brief look at the third shloka as well. So when you look at the third shloka, you will see that he will expand further on this. So that's what. So here he said he is Anantaihi Trayantaihi, the three Vedas. Right? So there he goes to expand on the three Vedas. And how is this Anuvihita Hesha Halahala? How is he actually echoing these sounds? Those are also again described further in the next shloka. So we now go to the next shloka here. The third shloka. Samaharas-samnam Pratibadamricham Thama Yajusham Layaf Pratyuhanam Laharivitatirboda Jaladhehe Katha Darpak Shubhyat Kathaka Kulakola Halabhavam Haratvantardhvantam hayavadana hesha halahalaha. Samahara samnam pratibadam richam dhama yajusham layaf pratyuhanam laharivitatir bodha jaladhehe kathadarpa shubhyat kathakakula kolahalabhavam harattvantardhvantam hayavadana hesha halahalaha. Very, very beautiful shloka and a very rhyming shloka as well. So let's look at the pada vibhaga and then move to the understanding of the meaning. Samaharaha samnam. We have samahara samnam is split into samaharaha samnam. Pratibadam richam becomes pratipadam richam. Dhama yajusham as such. Layaf pratyuhana layaha pratyuhanam. Lahari vitatihi bodha jaladehe. Lahari vitatir bodha jalade becomes lahari vitatihi bodha jaladehe. This is a one single compound word. Katha darpa shubhyat kathaka kula kolahala bhavam. So the individual words we have here are katha darpa shubhyat kathaka kula kolahala bhavam. Okay, that is one single big compound word. Haratu antardhvantam. Haratu antardhvantam. Hayavadana hesha halahalaha. Again a single word, single compound word. Hayavadana hesha halahalaha. This is the padavibhaga. So now we will look at the anvaya, the prose order. So prose order goes like this. Samnam samaharaha. Samahara samnam is to be looked at as Samnam samaharaha. Richam pratipadam. The pratipadam richam becomes richam pratipadam. Dhama yajusham, look at as yajusham dhama. Layaf pratyuhanam is pratyuhanam layaha. Lahari vitati bodha jaladehe. It is bodha jaladehe lahari vitatihi. Hayavadana hesha halahalaha. So all these the words we have in the first two padas, they are adjective for Hayavadana hesha halaha. So this kind of a Hayavadana hesha halahala, okay, what we wanted to do is haratu. We wanted to remove something. What do we wanted to remove? We wanted to remove antardhvantam. So antardhvantam haratu. Okay, the inner darkness it should remove. Okay. And why is this inner darkness created? It is created because of Katha darpak shubhyat katakakula kolahala bhavam. So Katha darpak shubhyat katakakula kolahala bhavam. Created by this kolahala, which happens because of this Katha darpak shubhyat katakakula. We'll understand what it is in the next part. Okay. So this is what we are saying. So we are saying Samnam samaharaha, richam padipadam, yajusham dhama, pratyuhanam layaha, bodha jaladehe lahari vitatihi, Hayavadana hesha halahalaha, katha darpak shubhyat katakakula kolahala bhavam antardhvantam haratu. Right? This is the anvaya. Now we will look at the word by word meaning so that we get the overall meaning. And then details we will look at in the next class. Okay? So overall meaning is what we are looking at. Samnam samahara. So Sama refers to the Sama Veda. So Samnam samahara basically means samahara is summary. So he is the summary of the Samaveda. Richam pratipadam. So, Richam for the Rig Veda. Of the Rig Veda is pratipada. Is like a pratipada, like the synonym or the meaning of every word. Pratipada of Rig Veda. Yajusham dhama. Of the Yajur Veda, he is the dhama. He is the abode, or you can look at it as the glory of the Yajur Veda. Right? So all these three refer to how he is associated with the Vedas. Right? We talked about Trayi there. So the three are being described over here. Pratyuhanam layaha. And all the obstacles, of all the obstacles, he is the dissolution, which means he will remove all the obstacles. Layaha pratyuhana. For anything that is an obstacle, he will remove it for you. How does he remove it? Everything will just dissolve in him. He'll just remove it for you. Okay? Because he is bodha jaladehe lahari vitatihi. So any obstacle for your jnana, right? any ajnana, all that will be destroyed by him because he is Bodha Jaladehe. Bodha Jaladi. Jaladi is ocean. Bodha is knowledge. So for the ocean of knowledge, he is a Lahari Vitatihi. Lahari is a wave. So Vitati is the unending flow of waves. So the collection of waves, the unending flow of waves. Just as in an ocean you have waves coming again and again, right? I mean, there's an unending flow of waves. Similarly, he is an ocean of knowledge, and he is this unending flow of waves, right? In this ocean of knowledge. So you have knowledge flowing right through to remove all our ajnana. So that is why he's Bodha Jaladehe Lahari Vitati. Hayavadana Hesha Halahalaha. So all this describes the Halahala Shabda of Hayavadana. So the Halahala name sound of Hayagriva Bhagavān is the summary of the Samaveda. The synonym of every word of the Rig Veda is the abode of the Yajurveda. It is a dissolution of all obstacles, and it's the collection of waves or unending flow of waves of the ocean of knowledge. So this Hayavadana Hesha Halala, this sound of Bhagavan, what do we want it to do? That is what we are looking at in the next part of the next half of the shloka. Kata Darpa Kshubhyat Kathaka Kula Kola Halabhavam. This is the third pada that we had over there. So this Katha Darpa Kshubhyat Kathaka Kula Kola Halabhavam. So Katha is argument. When people argue, right? So argument is Katha. Darpa. So Kathakaha is logicians. Okay, logicians are doing a lot of arguments. So many logicians, they want to establish their own points of fact, right? So they are presenting their arguments. And when they do this, Darpa, so they get haughty, right? They are agitated by, they become very arrogant with their arguments. And because of that, Shubhyat, they are agitated by that, right? So when they are agitated, what happens is that there is a lot of kolahala, this kataka kula. We have not just one or two logicians, but we have a whole community of logicians. So this community of logicians, this group, okay, they are in this argument. What is happening is kolahala. What is being created is a kolahala. It's a loud and confused noise that is being created. So this noise, bhavam, out of this noise, what is rising? What is happening out of this noise is antardhvanta. What is happening is an inner darkness or an ajnana is created in us. So this ajnana, the inner darkness, which is created by this din of the group of logicians who are, putting forth their agitated, arrogant arguments, that particular ajnana, let it be removed. Let it remove. Let what remove? This halahala shabda of Hayagriva Bhagavān should remove this inner darkness. So this is the overall meaning of this shloka. So let the halahala shabda of Bhagavān remove the inner darkness which is caused by this arguments and all the other points of view which are put forth by various other schools of thought. So let it remove that, right? Because, and why will it be able to remove that? It will be able to remove it because it is the essence of the Vedas. It is the summary of the Samaveda. It is the essence, a synonym of Rig Veda, abode of Yajurveda, and it will dissolve all the obstacles, and it has a never-ending flow of knowledge. It's an ocean of knowledge. Therefore, let this halahala shabda remove our inner ajnana. This is the meaning of the shloka. The details of this, the inner meanings and other things, we will look at in the next class. We will stop for today with this overall meaning. Okay. Okay. We can take questions if there are. Let me just check if there are any questions that are there. And if anybody has any question, I would prefer that you do a Q&A. It's easier for us to look at the questions and so there's a question which says, is Atharva Veda not included in the Vedas? Okay. When we say typically we refer to these three, but you find it in the Vyakhyanas when people are explaining these shlokas, they say when Yajurveda is mentioned, Atharva Veda is also included in that. So we can say that Atharva Veda is kind of meant when we talk about Yajurveda also. So in that sense, it is included. Okay. But when we normally refer to as Trai, it is, Trai is a term that is used for some people say Param Brahma and Parabrahma. I suppose both are correct. Yes, both are correct. Param Brahma is also correct. We are splitting the words when we say Param Brahma. So Parabrahma is when you are putting that together. Trayanta. Could you explain the term Trayanta? How does it come to me? Okay. Trayi basically is Vedas. Trayanta refers to Vedanta. Okay, so Trayanam Samahara. So the three that we have, right? Rig, Yajus, and Sama. So the collection of those three is referred to as Trayi. And Trayanta refers to Vedanta. So we are looking at Vedanta. Okay. But when we say Vedanta, but since we are referring to Rig, Yajus, Sama in the next, in this particular shloka, right? So we are looking at it as the Vedas and the Vedanta, which comes as part of these Vedas, the end part of the Vedas. So that's the explanation that we can have there. Yeah, Sadrichi Sanavyayam. Okay. Can we recite the stotra at the end? There's no recitation practice, but I can just recite it for you, just as. Is there a difference between jnana and vidya? Yes. That requires a little bit of explanation. So I will take it when we next deal with the words jnana and vidya. What is the symbolism of the horse head? What does the horse represent? Okay. In fact, when there's a description of the horse head in Mahabharata and so on, and it's described, every part of the horse head, right, is actually equated to the entire universe form. So it's almost like a universal form that is given over there. And so I don't know if it is just the horse alone that is being looked at over there. If there's any deeper significance for the horse as such, I think I'll have to get back to you on that. I'll get back to you on that. Avadata is white. Avadata is one which makes it white. Okay. Antardvanta, created by inner struggle of mental kathakas or external agitated arguments. Antardvanta, the inner darkness, is created by the external agitated arguments, which causes us to be confused. So we are getting the inner darkness. So the question was, is it created by the inner struggle of mental kathakas? That is, for them, is it an internal? So you're looking at it as let it remove the inner darkness for them also. I think that is also probably a way of looking at it. But the bhavam, since it is created by that, so we are talking about the antardvantam, that is inner darkness created by the agitated arguments, external arguments. See that external agitated arguments, when you hear the external agitated arguments, what is actually happening is that your jnana, okay, your clarity of thought is lost, right? So you are essentially asking for clarity of your thought and clarity of thought for others as well. Okay. So you can look at it as meaning both. I hope I answered that question right. I think that was your question, right? So inner struggle of mental kathakas. So kathaka, everybody is arguing. Everybody is putting forth their arguments. So they also need to get clarity, right? So you can look at it as their inner darkness also has to be removed. Why is Hayagriva often associated with Spatika? Hayagriva is considered to be pure white in form. Okay? And I think the closest, that the pure whiteness, I think the metaphor that we have probably, Spatika is considered to be one of the closest metaphors for that. So that's why we find that. Sorry, I missed one. William. To understand the argument of logicians. Okay, so when we talk about logicians' argument, Okay, see, logicians typically what happens is when you try to establish your school of thought, your point of view, okay, in our tradition, it is actually done by means of arguments. So everybody puts forth their view, and there's a pratipaksha, right? An opponent who will say why your point of view is not okay, and you have to give your siddhanta. So this pratipaksha siddhanta, your establishment of your pratipaksha siddhanta has to be done through logic. You use all logical arguments to do that. So which is why we are talking about this particular argument that which is necessary, okay, in order to establish your school of thought. I think I asked some questions. Okay. So in the second shloka, what does the three world refer to? Three worlds refers to, normally we talk about these three worlds, right? So Svargaloka, the Sloka, and the Pathaloka. You can also you can also use it as a reference to all the 7 lokas. So we can talk about the Saptaloka that is there. So entire universe, Tribhuvana essentially refers to the entire universe. So not Tapatraya. So Tapatraya, you see, one way to understand Tapatraya, you have to associate with Apatapa Tribhuvanam. So you should say Apatapa Tribhuvanam when we understand the meaning of that tomorrow we look at it. Apatapa can be looked at as removing the Tapa, the Tapatraya. Okay, so Tribhuvana refers to the worlds, the entire universe as such. The Lalita Sasnama, Hayagriva and Hayagriva are the same. Yes, I was that. Yeah, so we find references to Hayagriva in many Puranas, okay? And then there are some differences in the way it is dealt with. So that was something, I think there was a question that we had yesterday. I was in fact planning to address that question today. But I thought I will do it when the context of Hayavadana comes in, along with Brahma. So I wanted to defer it to that particular aspect. So, so we will discuss about Hayagriva's forms, where different places where Hayagriva is described in the Puranas. But essentially, we are looking at Hayagriva as the destroyer of ignorance. Ajnana Nashaka, Jnana Prada. He is one who gives knowledge. What comes under Paravidya is something which is available to yogis in Samadhi. What comes under Paravidya? We talk about 32 Brahma Vidya. Okay. So, for instance, Akshara Vidya, Bhuma Vidya, Sad Vidya, all these are Vidyas which are laid out in our Upanishads. Okay. As Brahma Vidya. These are things which we say can be performed in order to get Brahma Sakshatkara. So, that is what we mean. We are uploading just the audio version of chanting the shlokams. But I think somebody is answering that. There's something called equine therapy, which helps in communication for children and teens. Yes, that probably has a connection to why we have the horse form. So that's also a comment that I'm seeing over there. So have I? Should have removed the answer. It's done. I think we have answered most of the questions. Okay. Some questions that are not yet answered, we will get covered in our next classes. Okay, so we'll take a look at it. I think most of the classes, most of the questions have been answered. And yeah, coming to some of the logistics aspect, we said that there will be a WhatsApp group. I think that will be created, and the link will be shared with you all. So the WhatsApp group will be created. To start with, we will make it only for administration purposes. And later, I think we will work it out, and maybe we could open for one day for posting of questions and doubts by others, where we can answer the questions and doubts, clear the doubts. Okay. So I think we will stop with this. Okay, if there are any further questions, you can also send it through mail. You can also do it, ask the questions through email, and we'll be able to answer them. Yeah, there's another question which says, I have heard that the halahala is a junction of two words, hal and ahal, which represent the swara and vyanjana of the Sanskrit language. Yes, there is also another interpretation which is given to for the halahala shabda. Okay, but that is in addition to the denying sound, which it depicts. So both this hal and ahal as representing swara and vyanjana of Sanskrit language is also indicated by that. We will cover that also. Okay, let me just repeat this third shloka and then we will complete. Samaharassamnam pratipadam racham dhama yajusham layah pratyuhanam lahari vitatirbodha jaladhehe katadarpakshubhyat kathakakula halabhavam harattvantardhvantam hayavadana hesha halahalaha. I will end with Deshika Mangala Shloka. Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha. Namaskara. We will meet again next week. Thank you. Dhanyavada.